you're not having it in your mouth. So the cigar is completely different than a cigarette because you are inhaling the smoke into your lungs with a cigarette. With a cigar, you pull in some in, and you reserve some for taste. It's all about taste. There's nothing to do with inhaling the smoke. And God help you if you inhale the smoke from a cigar. I've done that before, and you end up with the head spinning, horrible feeling. It's much like being really, really drunk, and you want the world to stop spinning when you're laying on your back. So that's, I mean, you can go through the Carey study and all the other stuff. And you got, for cigars, you have different parts of the plant that are used in rolling a cigar. And what you use in the makeup of the cigar makes a difference in how strong the cigar is. You have very mild cigars which have very little ligero. Ligero's at the very top of the plant. They're young leaves, and that's where you have a lot of the nicotine concentration and all of the real kick. You could not smoke a cigar through made of 100% ligero. You could not keep your lunch down. It's just way too strong. But they mix the ligero with other parts of the leaves, like the seco, which is further down, and the volva, which is even further down. And some, they make cigars out of the sand leaf, which they call sand leaf because it's at the bottom of the plant, and it gets like the dirt and sand on it. And those leaves are really mild, and you'll get like different brands have different levels of what's in them. Like the type of tobacco, what we smoke today is commonly the Nicotiana tobacco. There's like 66 different types of tobacco, and some of them are related to potatoes and tomatoes today, but you can't smoke those leaves because they'll get you sick as heck, and you wouldn't want to eat them either because they'll do the same thing. In fact, tomatoes are a very recent thing since the 1820s because they have always thought of tomatoes as being poisonous until later they figured out, well, we can eat these things. But going through the different types, there's a dizzying array of types of tobacco. Listed here is the Bahia, which is Brazilian's native tobacco. The broadleaf, which is common in the United States and Connecticut and all that stuff, which is a broadleaf type. The Habanensis hybrids, which really don't need much description because they're leaves that were grown in Cuba. They're for their type, and that'll go into a little bit later. But you have the Basuka, which is in Java and Indonesia, the Cameroon, which is African, the Connecticut shade, well, it's grown in the Connecticut River Valley, and you have the shade grown, which is obviously grown in the shade, and you have sun grown, which is grown in the sun, and the Corojo, which you have an example of the wrapper there.
Kind of a
reddish brown, yeah. And the Criollo, which is you get some cigars that are labeled Criollo nowadays, but they're few and far between. They're native to Honduras and Nicaragua, and which we have most of our tobaccos coming from today. And the Criollo 98, 99, they were both developed in Cuba before the embargo, but you'll get that nowadays, but it'll be grown in Honduras and Nicaragua and some other places. Now the Havana 2000 was invented in 1992 in Cuba because they had several problems with their crops with different types of pests that were making a mess of them. And Cuba, let's face it, they don't have a lot of ability to spray things, and things are pretty rationed over there. So they did that. You got the Isabella, which is grown in the Philippines, and all these other dizzying array. The Orlo, which you'll get a lot of in like Macanudo and other mild cigars, which you couldn't get a buzz off if you tried. And the Pilado, which is a Cuban one that's grown in the Dominican today, and all these others. A couple worthy mentions: the Sumatran from Indonesia. You'll get some with Sumatran wrappers and stuff like that. They're all different types of what they call black tobacco, which is a darker tobacco. Now you have along that line. You also have colors and shapes and sizes that are noted. The double claro, which is the AMS, the American Market Selection, which is like the green wrapper that you get from like Green Iguana and other brands like that. And it's mild, but they say it's rarely found here. It's found. You just have to look for it. The Colorado Claro, you can see that's the EMS, the English Market Selection. If you look in a catalog, you'll see you can get it natural EMS and all that. That's what the English Market Selection is. And they're grown in all kinds of different countries. It's just a type. Your Colorado Maduro, which is a dark wrapper, but not quite as dark as the Maduro, which is really a dark wrapper. And you'll see those in some cigars. The Asakuro is probably the blackest. I mean, it's what you see in Partagas nowadays. The Partagas,
Onyx.
Onyx and Partagas Black is a black tobacco, and it was popular during the cigar boom of the 1990s, but it's still around now. Yeah, the barbacoas and candy canes are odd cigars because they have one type of wrapper over another, and they weave them, so you get the cigar, you'll see it, and it'll have like two colors running in there. And Philippe Grigori makes one as well that's three different types rolled together. But the problem with those is they sometimes burn at different rates, so you get an odd, uneven burn on them, and it won't. And you get kind of off-balance flavors from it, so I really don't recommend that. And yeah. So you have dual wrappers too, which are like Black Pearl and Tab Shorts. They have half the cigar one way and half the cigar another. That's just it's a gimmick, really. I wouldn't recommend those. I've never smoked one that was worth wasting my time on.
And it's one of those things in which it does take some skill in order to put them together to do them, but it is, like you said, a gimmick.
Another one that's further in this is they have one that's literally two cigars wrapped as one, and it looks like a shotgun barrel because you have two small cigars wrapped as one, and you're smoking two at once, which is different than the Culebra, which is like three that are wrapped together. But they're all the same. You can smoke those individually, or you can smoke them together. I would say don't smoke them together. Smoking three cigars at once is a little much. But oddly, this curve, what they used to call crooks in the United States, are burned dead even, even though their shape is crooked. And the draw is perfect, and it's amazing to do. But anyway, we'll go on to shapes. There's a whole chart of shapes, and you can see there are 20 well-known shapes, and the giant's also called the Presidente. It's not mentioned here, but you get giants from like Alec Bradley has what they call a Presidente size, and it's a 9-inch by 52. The ring gauge, it goes from like a 29, which is like a cigarillo, really small, up to 50 gauge and up, which is really, really big, and you could you could literally have like a smoking a pool cue in size. So these are all classical styles that were, invented by the Spanish in Cuba and stuff. So you can look those over when you get a chance. The culebra, I already went over that. It's made up of 3 cigars twisted together. They did this for factory workers, so they had less of an incentive to steal cigars. It was kind of like their thing. You could tell right away that it was that, and it wasn't supposed to be sold to the general public, but it caught on, and now you can buy culebras, but there's not very many doing it now. I think Davidoff still makes them.
Yeah, they're really rare now.
And Partagas in Cuba makes them still, but good luck in getting those. Your Perfecto, which is tapered at both ends, it's pointed here and it's pointed there, but it has a little open foot at the bottom.
Yeah, the Perfecto is the one